Thank you for joining the City of Kingston's Common Council at our Finance and Audit meeting. Today is Wednesday, July 8th. My name is Andrea Schott, the Council President and organizer for our virtual meetings. Before we begin, we would like to go over a few guidelines to help us navigate the system as efficiently and respectfully as possible. We ask that members of the public and press remain muted and off camera for the length of the meeting. As organizer, I reserve the right to mute anyone who unmutes themselves. Council members and city staff will control their own mute button. Good practice would be to mute yourself if you are not speaking to avoid background noise and feedback. If a council member or staff wishes to speak, they will raise their hands. The chairperson will call on them before they speak by stating their name clearly for our audio listeners. All of our meetings are recorded. Both video and written transcriptions will be made available to the public on the city's website. Although we will not have public speaking tonight, you could submit written comments to the City of Kingston Clerk, Elisa Tinty, at emtinty@kingston-ny.gov, or by dropping them off at the drop box located outside the side door of City Hall. We also encourage you to reach out to committee chairs or your ward's representative at any time. If you have any audio issues, send a text message to the following number, 845-594-6120. Please be aware that phone calls will not be answered during the meeting. The number to text, though, is 845-594-6120. As the organizer for today's meeting, I reserve the right to lock and pause the meeting to eject anyone who has behaved inappropriately. Lastly, at tonight's meeting, we have an attendance chair, Alderman Doug Coop, committee members, Alderman Rennie Scott Childress, Alderwoman Rochelle Hirsch. We had Alderman Steve Shabbat, so he must have gotten kicked off and is coming back. And subbing for Tony Davis tonight, we have Alderman Don Tellerman. City staff, we have Comptroller John Toohey and City Clerk Elisa Tinty. Thank you for your patience during these difficult times, and on behalf of the Common Council, I wish you and your family good health. I now turn the floor over to Chair Coop.
Thank you, Madam President. We have a full quorum, so let's proceed. Our agenda tonight consists of 4 items, plus the 5th item, which will be the controller's summary. John Toohey will, as he does every month, give a summary of the state of the city. So let's go to item number 1, which is a request from the city clerk for a replacement of a laptop that has ceased functioning, an aged laptop that has ceased functioning. She is requesting a transfer of $731.01 from the supply line to the clerk's processing supply line for a laptop replacement. There is zero financial impact to the city on this, so it's a simple transfer of funds within the city clerk's budget. Any questions, comments? Yes, Steve. Steve Shabbat?
I was all set to make a motion.
Any questions? A motion on, yes, Granny?
I was just wondering, 12 years old, can we sell this to a museum and make some money on it?
I think Kyle might let you do that.
Maybe.
I asked him if he had anything laying around, and unfortunately, everything that he had was just as old. This is actually the computer, the laptop that will be used for the municipal IDs. So right now, we're not able to process any municipal IDs.
Okay.
Okay, so motion on the floor from Steve, correct, Steve Shabbat. No, second by Rennie. Is there all in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. I see 5-0 in favor. Opposed? Motion passes. Second item is from the controller. He actually has 2 items, and I'll turn it over to you, John, but one is an execution of a municipal cooperative agreement with the New York State Cooperative Liquid Asset Security Systems. And second, the changes to the city's investment policy. So why don't you brief us on this, John, please?
Thanks, Doug. Well, we are in the era and age of shrinking margins on our investments. I researched some options. The city currently invests in one cooperative investment group with it's called NILAF. NICLAS is another investment group that's available. It's widely used by municipalities and school districts and other governmental organizations across the state. Kingston City School District uses NICLAS along with a number of local municipalities and school districts. But what this will allow me to do is it just gives me gives the city another investment option. With shrinking margins, it's going to be important to try to capture any investment income that we can on short-term fluctuations in interest rates. The NILAF that we've had and we've invested in for quite a while has performed very well over the duration that we've used them. But as of late, their rates have fallen, and to provide a little additional diversity in our portfolio, I think NICLAS would be a good option for us. Currently, it's a stronger rate than a NILAF rate. That could change by the time this gets approved in August, but hopefully not. And but it's really a win-win situation for us. It just gives us another option. We have daily liquidity with NILAF and NICLAS. Within one day, we can request funds and receive funds that we've invested. So where there's just those small changes in interest rates, we can take advantage of it. When the interest rates change back, if NILAF gets to where their rates are higher than NICLAS, we can move it back within a day. So I think it's something to look at, and I would recommend it.
Question? Yes, Don Talman, please.
Hi, thank you. This is Don Tollerman. Thanks, John. So, John, do we get a rate of return on these? And if so, like year to date, what has the return been?
Well, right now, we do get a rate of return. I mean, we get an interest rate, like right now, and the rate changes constantly. I can tell you what the city has received. Give me 1 second to date and interest. In our general fund, we've received $31,000 year to date. Last year, we received $215,000. So
give more of a percentage.
Well, right now, the interest rate is 0.05 in NILAF. In NICLAS, it's 0.28. That's under 0.5% interest. At one point last year, we're up over 2%. So with the federal rate collapsing, the investment rate has collapsed. We're getting next to no interest. So even where 0.28 doesn't seem like a lot, it's a multiplier better than what we're getting in our current product.
Thank you.
That's across the board. Even our lead bank, where we have our most of our accounts are non-investment accounts. We have a money market with that bank, and their rate is lower than, it's in between the NILAF and the NICLAS rate.
Thank you.
Sure.
Randy Scott Childress, please.
Hi, Rennie Scott Childress here. John, is there much of a cost in terms of selling the one and buying into the other?
No, not at all. No, not at all. We don't see any cost. With so currently right now with NILAF, we have daily liquidity. It's guaranteed by next business day, but we're limited to one transaction a week. With the NICLAS, we can move the money daily. Typically, that's not the case. I mean, typically we'd only need to move money once a week, but we can request money and get it the same day with NICLAS, which is nice. I mean, I can send an email at 9 o'clock in the morning. We can have it by the close of business. So when I see rates changing between the two products, we can try to take advantage of that.
Okay, is that a motion, Rennie?
No, that was, I'm glad to hear that, to John.
Okay, good. Okay. Other questions?
Motion.
Okay, entertain a motion by Randy. You just made a motion, correct?
Yes.
Is there a second? Second by Michelle Hirsch. All in favor? Signify, please. Aye. 1, 2, 3, 4. Steve, are you with us? Steve Shabbat? We lost Steve. Let's give him a minute to come back.
Well, who's going to sing the tunes now that he's gone? John Toohey, give us a song.
All right, John.
I was going to put on my Pandora, but
We can make, Doug, we can make this vote 4-0.
Oh,
Here's,
Okay, here we are. Steve, we have a motion on the floor to execute a municipal cooperative agreement with NICLAS that John Toohey has just reviewed with us. We have a motion from Rennie, Scott Jolis, and a second by Michelle Hirsch. I'm now calling for a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Steve, do you have a vote? Okay, 5-0. Thank you. John, let's go to your second item, which is a change to the city's investment policy.
yes. So once again, the Common Council has to approve you already approved this municipal cooperation agreement. Additionally, you have to authorize NICLAS as a authorized depository per the city's investment policy. So that's the primary reason for the changes to the investment policy. I also wanted to, as I stated in my letter, just to clarify that this policy only covers the deposits under my purview.
Okay, I think that makes sense. Is there any questions? Is there a motion on this, please? By Rennie and a second by Steve Shabbat. All in favor, please signify. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0. Okay, great. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Moving to the third item is from the New York State Department of Transportation, Municipal Transportation Project Agreement, whereby we are now eligible to receive the final payment of $83,125 reimbursement for the New York State share of the city bus expenditures, which were incurred prior to the discontinuation of transit services. So we're authorizing the mayor to receive these funds. The positive impact to the city is $83,125.
So do you want me to speak to this?
Yeah, okay, sure, John, yeah. Go ahead, John.
You're breaking up a little bit, Doug. I don't know if it's me or if it's on your end.
It's you,
Go
John.
ahead, John. Please comment on this.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. I hear you.
Okay. So this $83,125, this is essentially the final reimbursement from New York State for the city bus program. Once this agreement is authorized, the mayor will sign it. We'll get up to DOT, and we will then be eligible for this $83,125 reimbursement, which is the state share of our final reimbursement for the city bus program that would, for the period ended June 30th, 2019.
So this will be the final payment, final reimbursement. This is it. This closes it out.
Yes. So just the background is the federal government, the FTA, will have an agreement for which we get reimbursed for our expenditures, our operating, our admin, and our preventive maintenance expenditures on the bus program. New York State DOT then, upon the FTA agreement, then the DOT has to authorize an agreement for their matching share of those expenditures. So this is the matching share.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Questions, concerns? A motion, maybe? Michelle Hurst makes a motion and Rennie will second. So Michelle Hurst makes a motion and Rennie second. All in favor, please signify. 1, 2, 3, 4. Steve Shabbat, we lost you again. Steve, are you with us?
He's competing with his granddaughter for bandwidth.
Yeah. Shall we,
I
Can
just
we
got a
come back?
text. He says I keep losing connectivity, bad internet from there. So
can we come back to him on this? Can we move forward? Can
you
we
could also just have the vote 4-0.
just leave it at 4-0?
Yeah.
And how does his vote count?
It would be of an absence.
An absence.
Yeah.
And yet he's present at the meeting. I don't understand that. It's not, it bothers me. It's not clear. It's not clean. He's present at the meeting, but
We could wait for him, but
yeah, I know. Yeah.
internet connection, so I don't know.
Okay. Will the rules allow us to have a tentative vote of 4-0 and then come back to it and solicit his vote?
I guess so.
Okay. Vote is 4-0. Moving on to the fourth item from building safety, replacement of a request by Steve Knox, replacement of a rooftop air conditioner with a heat pump, internal transfer of $2,950 from the maintenance of building account into other equipment, just shy of $3,000. Questions, concerns? Yes, Rennie?
I'll make a motion for that. That seems like in this heat, you got to have your air conditioner working. I don't know if anybody wants to discuss it, but
Okay. There's a second. Steve Shabbat. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Steve, we got your back. If we could go back to the previous item on the agenda to see, this was John's second item for authorizing see what? Oh, this was to authorize the mayor to accept $83,125 reimbursement for the state's share of the city bus expenditures incurred prior to the discontinuation of transit services on June 30th, 2019. We did vote on, there was a motion by Rennie Scott Childress. I can't recall who seconded it, but we had a vote on that. We missed. Yeah, okay, thank you. You're in favor of it. Okay. So can we book that as a 5-0 vote, Madam Chairman? Okay. Okay, so that completes the agenda items. Let's move now to John Toohey's, the controller's summary of the state of the city as we're now halfway through the year. John, you want to take it, please?
Sure. Thanks, Doug. First, I just wanted to touch on the COVID finance update. I sent that a little earlier.
Yep.
this time last week, I'd sent an email on our most recent sales tax checks, which are, the big ticket item that we're waiting on. It was really the first glimmer of good news that we've had in a while. Unfortunately, there's a lot of up and down with these sales tax checks, and it's been hard to determine a straight pattern. But overall, as of today, we are cumulatively, we're 6.59% down year over year. The last payment, which is at this point the clearest indicative payment of where we're at, that payment was for 3 weeks of June for the large filers, or I'm saying 3 weeks of, June 1st to June 22nd for the large filers. That check was down 18.42%. So in total, when we're now getting a trend, we have a number of checks during the COVID period. I was able to soften up the sales tax loss estimates from where we were previously. And if you look at the update I provided, there's a sheet for sales tax. I did a calculation for what the sales tax looks like if each check from this point on is 18% down year over year, and what it looks like 28% down year over year. I think it's going to continue to be a moving target as we move through the year. Hopefully there's a little more stability from check to check, but we are getting a cumulative picture. The estimate that we have right now in total, I think, is pretty consistent with the counties. When I talked to Burt Golnick last week, they're projecting in the vicinity of 17% year over year decline in actual collections. Our middle of the road loss estimate is approximately 17% down year over year. With that number to sales tax, the decline would be 2.1 million year over year. That also excludes any of the contractual givebacks that we did based on the agreement. So that's just the grossed up numbers, a $2.1 million sales tax reduction. New York State revenue sharing, I know several people have reached out to me. We have received word now officially that some municipalities who are on a different period for collecting that state aid from the state versus the city have received notification that their state aid will be cut by 20%. We have no official notification for the city of Kingston at this point. I did change the low loss estimate to a 20% number, as I think that's pretty good estimate at this point. I just the writing's on the wall. I think we're at least facing a 20%. We're still waiting on word from the federal government, obviously, and then whatever the state does as a result of what the federal government does or doesn't do. Most of the other estimates really haven't changed a whole lot. The parking revenues, I did update that estimate, as it appears that we're looking at having some paid parking come back in place soon. So we've softened up the estimates there. On the expenditure side, I've adjusted the temporary layoff estimate as we have called back some employees back to work a little bit early. And all told, the low loss estimate in revenue is 3.4 million. The high loss is 5.6. I've given you a range of fund balance estimates as of the end of the year. I don't want to do all the talking. I just want it to be interactive if we can. Does anybody have any questions on any of this material?
John, is there any change in the property tax? Well, $619,500. Has that changed from last month in your mid-range loss estimate?
Not yet. It's something that we'll be looking at every month or two. We'll have to continue to monitor that, but that is essentially, based on the collections year to date. So, those numbers are going to fluctuate a little bit through the year. I wouldn't expect that it's going to fluctuate a lot.
Okay.
But once again, Doug, if I can just clarify, this impact is the current year tax. This isn't delinquencies on prior year taxes.
Steve Shabbat? Steve Shabbat.
Yeah, my apologies. Everything's going in and out a lot. So, John, just to go back to the parking revenue for a second. It sounds like, yeah, do we have like a plan in mind, or are we just kind of playing this by ear to see what happens as we bring back paid parking? I know there's questions floating around, from the public every once in a while about what's going on. Some people don't even realize there's free parking out there right now. So, yeah, I'm just wondering whether, this is still in the formative stages, shall we say, or we have a plan to move forward to bring it back.
Steve, are you talking about the parking?
Yeah.
The mayor will be, if he hasn't already released something, there will be something coming out soon from the mayor on the parking.
Yeah.
Okay, good. That was my second question, whether there's going to be
Yes.
some press release or something about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Randy Scott Childress, please.
Hi, Rennie Scott Childress here. John, can you say more about employees being called back? Is this a sign that we're on the way out of the woods, or is this just a temporary island we're stopping at? Are we calling back full-time employees, part-time?
It's been a mixture, Rennie. I think it's more of at this point, the employees have been called back. I wouldn't necessarily a sign of where we're at financially, more of a sign of where those employees functions and what they do. Originally, the thought process behind this temporary furlough was to lay off those employees whose job responsibilities were most affected by the virus and the shutdown. So as we're starting to open back up, we've seen where certain employees have been called back, but that's primarily been based upon their job responsibilities.
Okay, John, if I could go back to discussion of the parking revenues. I'm glad to see that there's some thought between you and the mayor. I'll just mention anecdotally that the people in Uptown, and I don't know if it's the same in Midtown or down in the Rondout, Steve, but the purpose of having free parking was allowed to promote business, allow people to come in and park for free. But there's a feeling among Uptown business people that this is not what's happening. It's people are warehousing their cars and so forth. And there's a plea, perhaps we should consider, as I said, turning back on the meters. So not looking for anything specific now, but I encourage this discussion. Thank you. Any other questions? John, anything else you want to comment on?
No, Doug. Once again, I mentioned at a prior meeting about the parking. We spoke to, when we originally talked about the parking meters and, why they were shut down. And I do think the mayor's getting feedback on actually getting requests on getting the parking meters back up and running. Originally, the thought process is that you don't really have the parking demand in front of these businesses, but as they're starting to open up, more people are out. You're seeing that, like you said, Doug, I think more cars that are possibly not moving in some of these locations. And from my understanding, is the businesses are supportive of moving back towards the paid parking, but the mayor will get something out soon, and hopefully that'll lay out the plan, what we're doing going forward.
Okay, great, good. Other questions for John? I think that completes our agenda items. Anyone else have anything else they want to discuss or bring forward? Not hearing anything. Don, I thank you for sitting in for Tony. We all do this from time to time. Appreciate your volunteering to do that. So I entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn from Steve Shabbat and second by Rennie Scott Chillis. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we now stand adjourned. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good night.
This conference is no longer being